Got the new 2025 Prime Form, black riser, white limbs. This one is for yours truly. We are going to be throwing on the Flow Purple strings from Threads Custom Bowstrings. Also going to run a QAD MX2. This one's new for me. I usually like running Hamskea Epsilon, but I figured, you know, let's change it up, run this, see how I like it. I'm going to build this bow out primarily for Total Archery Challenge. Probably going to do some hunting with it this fall, but this is primarily going to be a tack setup. Dialed proof 1V. Okay, you got the black with the white. That's going to look nasty on there. That's going to be more so just that one pin ready to rock and roll. I can sit there and scroll, need to do what I need to do. Quattro stabilizers, front and back barbon run. 15s on the front, 8s on the back, purple and white dampeners and weights to match. Also going to run 3D HVs. This is also a new one for me from Victory Archery. It is kind of like a 4 mil, got a pin bushing, knock on the back with a glue-in point. I'm going to build these super freaking light, running this form at 29 inches, 70 pounds, and I'm going to try to get this sucker as close to 350 grains as possible. So let's dive into it and have a little fun. Pro tip, when you're changing the strings out on a brand new bow, that there are nothing wrong with the strings. If you're doing it yourself, don't chunk them, or if you take it to a pro shop, don't let them throw them away. There are nothing wrong with those strings. Use the bag the brand new strings came in and save these for when you decide to screw it up and dry fire your bow, you still got strings that you can shoot. Straight in the back. You know we're at the shop. Yeah, you know we're. Fun fact about this, if you are putting a limb-driven rest on these, the new forms down here at the bottom, you no longer have to remove the actual screw and put the adapter on. It already comes ready to rock and roll on both sides, both top and bottom. If you're going to run like a vapor trail that goes to the top limb or something like that, it's already ready to rock and roll, so you no longer have to worry about stripping that axle bolt out that we do all the time. This right here is the absolute worst part of these MX2s. That tiny little screw right there that you have to loosen up in order to get it on the integrate. If you're not careful, it's Strip City. Nice and tight. Now we might be running QAD, but I'm still putting a Hamskea arrow holder on the front because I don't like it banging around up here. Changing the activation cable out on the MX2 because it's black and we're going to run white just to match the bow. Pro tip here, when you're doing this, it feeds in through the front side and there's just a set screw there. Get that real nice and hot, and then while it's still kind of wet, pull it to a point. Makes your life so much easier to feed this. There she goes. Pull it through, tighten it back up. You already know we're running the best in the game, dialed proof. Had Scott and the boys over at Dialed do me up a black and white one to match just absolutely perfectly. So white void dial, white light cover. Went with the 1XR, so again, just a Total Archery Challenge setup, so I need that one pin in the top, and just perfect. If you guys aren't familiar with the proof, they went dual switch tapes. So the luxury of this is if I wanted to hunt with this, I could run my 3D HVs we're going to build out on the inside. Those lines are going to be super close because that arrow is going to be super light. And then on the outside, I could set up to that HLR or whatever I'm running in the hunting season. In the sight, all I have to do is reset my 20 and we're ready to rock and roll. Super cool. Another pro tip with these diodes is they come all nice and pretty in the package. Once you get it mounted on your bow, because I'm doing pick mounter, if you bridge lock, they come pretty dang close in that second, third axis. But they made the second axis independent on this model, unlike the Arxos. So here your second axis can adjust the sight this and that way, but you have to loosen that screw in order to do it. So now if you need to slide your scope housing up and down, you're no longer messing with your second axis. So right when you get your dialed in, that's obviously not the right size. You can take these, loosen them up, and slide it all the way down. To the bottom, which is how they want you to run it anyway when you start. Start right there with that. You start with the bottom, and then you can slide this up as you need to once you get your 20 in, mess with your left and right. That way when you go start rocking and rolling here, you get that full range of motion all the way through your rail here to get as long a distance as you need. Stabilizers running the Quattro 15 front, 8 back. They are Velagos. There's no R. I don't even know. There's no R. Velago. There's no R. You don't need to roll the R. Roll the non-existent R. I felt good about it though. I was real confident. Make sure that this is going straight up and down because we do have that downward angle. Money. Money. That's a wrap. Prime form 2025 built out. Gonna stick with the flow purples, probably change out a couple more colors on the MX2. All you gotta do is get a peep in. Stay tuned for the next video. We'll go over how to sight this proof in. Get yours.